here at Spoiled Agent, Mr. Paul Larcher. Hello, Paul.
Thank you. Hello, Susan. Great to see you, and Happy New Year to you and all the spoiled agents that are calling in.
And the same to you. So we have a really great presentation today. We're going to learn all about selling Australia 102, right?
102. Yes, part deux.
Part two. And I understand that it only takes like 90 minutes to become like a specialist with you guys, right?
That's right. Our famous Aussie Specialist program, only 90 minutes. It was completely revamped around the pandemic time. Prior to that, it took about 3 hours. And so we've kind of chunked it down, the introductory section. So now to become qualified, it takes just 90 minutes. So they can go on and do other modules, of course, once they qualify. And they can pick and choose which modules they like depending on their interests and what their clients like to do. But yeah, it's we have like 98% agent satisfaction rate.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
people love it.
Wow. So you guys, if you haven't done this, by the end of this, you've got to do it because it's just going to broaden your spectrum and what you can sell, right?
Yeah. And agents tell us too, once they take the Aussie Specialist program, they feel more confident in talking about Australia to their clients and selling Australia, and they are able to upsell as well. So they actually make more commission
Oh, wow. So
once you take the
who
course.
doesn't
Yeah.
want that? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and also, Paul, you're being super generous and you're giving away a $50 gift card today to one lucky spoiled agent. And we'll draw for that in a couple days, right? So look out
Yep.
maybe next week or so, guys, when your email from Paul or from us to say that you've won or from Tourism Australia in general. And in order to qualify, you have to be on the question period. So if you're joining us here on Facebook, then please keep in mind that you have to put your email in the comments. And if you're joining us on Zoom, we don't need your email. If you're on Zoom, we already have it because you're registered, right? So we'll put that in the pot as well. And some lucky winner is going to go and maybe enjoy a nice little lunch or something, whatever you're looking for, right?
Yep. They get to pick which kind of gift card they would like from giftcard.ca.
And that's the best kind. They can pick whatever they
Yeah.
want. Awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people are asking about FAMs already. They're interested in hearing about that. So I'm sure you'll
Well,
get.
when we do a FAM, we only invite Aussie specialists. That's another incentive to become a qualified Aussie specialist. A lot of tour operators as well, when they do FAMs to Australia, they will also make sure that the people that they're inviting are Aussie specialists because they want to make sure it's a big endeavor to take a group of agents to Australia. It's a lot of time commitment and expense, so they want to make sure that the people they're taking are serious about selling Australia and not just wanting, a nice vacation type thing.
Right. Well, and that's it. It's a learning opportunity for sure. And actually, Vanessa's just saying she finally got to go on the Good Day Australia
Oh
Megathon
yeah,
last October. And she said it's
great.
amazing and she loves the specialist program.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah. Good Day Australia is a conference we do for Aussie specialists globally in Australia. And in October, it was in Cairns. And then all the Canadians went on a post fam to Western Australia afterwards.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys become a specialist so you can qualify for this stuff. Wow.
Maybe you can go on a fam to Australia.
Yeah, that's it. Well, and I know I'll let you take over in a sec, but I know we have our friend Cheryl on as well, who just married an Aussie. So she's super excited about being
Oh,
on here today.
great. Congratulations, Cheryl.
Okay, well, sir, I think I'm going to let you take it away. But you guys, if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A box, and Paul and I will table them at the end. Don't put them in the chat because we're going to keep that open for the chat. I'll put some links in and things like that because if you put it in the chat, it moves up and we don't get to see it. So, all right, I'll let you go, and I'll be right here, Mister, and we'll catch up in a moment.
Okay, we'll see you in a little bit. So, hi, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks for your interest in selling Australia. I'm the account director for Tourism Australia. I'm based in Toronto. I also have a colleague in Vancouver, Gustavo, who I'm sure lots of you know. He's quite infamous. for many reasons. Um, and So today I'm calling this Selling Australia 102. I don't know if any of you have participated in one of my webinars before, but oftentimes I just do a Selling Australia 101, which is just kind of the basics of understanding the country and how to sell it, and just, talking about distances from point A to point B and how to get around, that type of thing. So I thought this time I would do a Selling Australia 102. So I'm going to start off with just a quick refresher about a couple of key points about selling Australia. Then I'm going to go through each of the 8 states and territories, and very quickly, so put on your seatbelts because it's going to be a quickie. But we're going to go through some of the main things that your clients will want to do in each of the states and territories. Okay, so as I said, it's going to be quick. But then at the end, we'll talk again a little bit about the Aussie Specialist Program. But hopefully this will give you um, enough curiosity, enough interest to want to learn more about each of the states and territories, and you'll want to go on the Aussie Specialist Program and do that introductory course. So I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to turn off my video so you don't have to look at my ugly mug. And I will come back on at the end. So here we go. Let's find the little arrow. There we go. So we'll start off with a quick video.
Hi world, Australia here. We've got so many new experiences waiting for you to discover. Are you ready to feel like you've never felt before? Feel the spirit of the world's oldest living culture thriving. Feel the connection when you meet the locals. Feel the pace of island life and all its surroundings. Feel pampered by nature. No, feel completely spoiled by nature. Do you want to see the unbelievable? See things from a new angle. See an art gallery along the ocean floor. See nature, untamed, up close and personal. See masterpieces from unexpected and unrivaled perspectives. See the world's largest open-range zoo. Do you want to experience more than you could ever imagine? Do fairways by the sea and putts over cliff tops. Do Sydney from greater heights than you could ever imagine. Do the tropical north and dive into adventure. Do the south in absolute opulence. Do everywhere in between like this, and this. Are you ready to feel, see, do a new Australia? We're ready when you are. Hi world.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Sorry, it's skipped ahead a bit here. No.
Hi world.
Okay. All right. So first of all, we're going to just talk about capital cities, just to get you kind of aware of where everything, all the main cities and all the states and territories are. So as you'll see, the first city is Melbourne, and it is in the, excuse me, the state of Victoria. So you can see it here on the dot, or on the map. The next one is Sydney, and of course that's New South Wales. And down here we've got Hobart, which is the capital of Tasmania. Out in the western part of Australia, we've got Western Australia, and the capital is Perth. We've got here this orange dot. This is Canberra, which is the Australian Capital Territory, or capital of Australia. The capital of Northern Territory, this part here, is Darwin. The capital of South Australia, which is where many of the famous wineries are, is Adelaide. And finally, one of the most popular states with all the famous beaches and the Great Barrier Reef is Queensland, and that is Brisbane as the capital. So we're going to jump in and start talking about all the states and territories. But first, I just want to go over a couple of the basics of why people pick a destination for their vacation. So this is a refresher course if you've been in my 101 training. So a lot of consumers look at safety and security, value for money, attractions, unique things to do, great food and wine experiences, natural beauty and wildlife. And let's be honest, there's also a smidgen of truth in all of us that we like bragging rights. I mean, you go to Australia and you come back and you start telling your friends and they're going to be so jealous. Same goes for your clients. And why do Canadians love Australia in particular? Well, we both have a similar culture and attitude. We're both part of the Commonwealth. Canadians love sports, and Australia offers up some of the best. Like right now, the Australian Open is going on. There's the Australian Grand Prix, the Melbourne Cup. And Australia has also become very fashionable amongst a lot of celebrities like Oprah, Ellen, Zac Efron, the cast of Modern Family went. And then, of course, there are famous Aussies that you see on the screen all the time, like Chris Hemsworth, Thor, Nicole Kidman, Hugh Jackman, Russell Crowe, Kate Blanchett, just to name a few. So again, some of the other reasons why people love Australia is the awesome coastal scenery and beaches, unique and wonderful wildlife, very sophisticated modern cities, that amazing magical outback. There are remarkable journeys, be it a self-drive or an iconic rail journey or a coastal drive, amazing natural landscapes. Of course, it's a nature lover's paradise with all the national parks, reserves, rainforests, mountain vistas. Australians are known for their friendliness and welcoming attitudes. Australians have amazing food and wine. It's world class. And of course, the ancient indigenous culture. As we know, a lot of people now just don't want to go and do a flop on the beach kind of holiday. A lot of people want to experience cultures, and the Aboriginal were the first Australians and are custodians of the world's oldest continuous culture. And you can experience, or your clients can experience, indigenous cultural experiences all across the country, from the outback to some of the major cities. So you don't have to go into the outback to experience them. So that's just a couple of the reasons. Australia is a long-haul destination, of course. Let's talk about some of the flying opportunity or options out of Canada. Air Canada flies nonstop from Vancouver to Sydney daily. At some points, they may even put on a second flight. Unfortunately, since the pandemic, they haven't reinstated Melbourne, but they've told me if they do reinstate it, it might be maybe another year, and then it's probably going to be seasonal service. And we're very happy that Qantas is now flying year-round, 3 times a week out of Vancouver to Sydney, which is great. Prior to that, they only did a short flying season, like mid-December to February, and that was mainly to bring Aussies up to Canada to ski and work out in the West. So flying times, Vancouver, Brisbane is about 14 and a half hours. Sydney's 15 and a half. It's very much like going to Europe from the East Coast of Canada. You get on the plane late in the evening, you get a drink, you get a meal, you can watch a few movies, have a nap. When you wake up, it's 7:30 in the morning, you're landing in Australia on the East Coast. So other options are Air New Zealand via Auckland. There's just usually a short 2 hour stopover. And we also got I'm just getting over a cold. So Air Tahiti Nui via Nadi, which is another option out of Vancouver. And of course, if you'd like, clients can also fly through connections in the US. So just before we get into the states and territories, I always like to remind agents about how large Australia is. It is an island, yes, but it's a continent. So we always have to remember when planning a client's itinerary that Australia is the same size as the United States, for example. I mean, if you're flying Sydney in the east to Perth in the west, it's like flying New York to LA or Toronto to Vancouver. So you have to plan for this when you're planning an itinerary for people. As a general rule of thumb, we always say at Tourism Australia that for every 2 weeks that your clients are in the country, 3 destinations maximum. So one of the iconic itineraries is Sydney Rock and Reef. So Sydney, Ayers Rock, and then the Great Barrier Reef. If you try and cram too much more into an itinerary, it's going to be so rushed. Their heads are going to be spinning. And don't forget, it's not a fam trip. We all know what it's like to go on fam trips, and we're used to it, but your clients aren't. I know a lot of people will give you pushback and say, well, I'm flying all that way. I want to see as much as possible. But the good news is that we have a really high repeat factor. Between 60 and 70% of leisure travelers will return to Australia. Maybe not the following year, because it's a big time commitment and more of a big ticket item, but they will go back. I mean, if they go to Sydney Rock and Reef, they're going to want to go back, and they want to go, want to go see Brisbane or Adelaide or Melbourne or Perth even, or Darwin, because they're going to fall in love with the unique wildlife that you can't see anywhere else in the world. So you have to try and rein them in. Okay, so let's do our whirlwind tour of Australia. So we're going to start with the most popular state, I guess, New South Wales. It's home to Australia's largest city. It's really famous for its stunning harbor. It's the largest natural harbor in the world. And we're starting, of course, with Sydney. It's Australia's oldest city, very picturesque. As I mentioned, a beautiful harbor and beautiful beaches, very Instagrammable opportunities. It's a really vibrant cosmopolitan city, but it still has an urban beach lifestyle. There are actually 70 surf beaches within the city limits, if you can believe it. Of course, it's known for the famous Harbour Bridge, where your clients can go on escorted bridge climbs, and they've got different levels of climbs that they can do depending on their fitness level and how much time they have. And then, of course, the famous Opera House, where your clients can go on a behind-the-scenes tour, or, of course, see a performance. Sydney has a jam-packed event calendar year-round. One of the most popular is the Festival of Light called Vivid Sydney, which you've probably heard of, which takes place in late May and early June. Then we've got the Blue Mountains, about 90 minutes northwest of Sydney. The Blue Mountains are called the Blue Mountains because of the haze that the vast forests of eucalyptus trees give off. It creates a fine mist of eucalyptus oil from their leaves. So this mist, when combined with water vapor and dust, then plays up the light and creates this haze, which looks blue, hence the name. So it's famous for its amazing scenery, the bushwalks, cute little villages, waterfalls, and cave systems. Clients can take a scenic Skyway aerial tram, which is 270 meters above ravines, where you get to see the rainforest canopy through a glass floor, which is pretty amazing. They can also enjoy the scenic railway, which descends 310 meters from the floor of Jameson Valley, to the floor of Jameson Valley. And clients can also stroll 2.4 kilometers through a Jurassic Park type rainforest. And by the way, the railway is at a 52-degree incline, so it's the steepest railway in the world. Then we've also got the Hunter Valley, which is Australia's oldest wine growing region, which is approximately 2.5 hours north of Sydney. You could do it in a day, as well as the Blue Mountains. It's a long day, but it's definitely doable in a day. But Hunter Valley, really worth seeing. There's actually a train you can take, and you can get a package that includes accommodation, or they can drive or take an escorted tour. The two varietals that are very popular here are Shiraz and Semillon. There are cellar doors, hot air ballooning, horseback riding, and farm-to-table restaurants in the Hunter Valley. We've also got Byron Bay, which is on the legendary Pacific Coast touring route. And of course, one of the people who made it very famous is Chris Hemsworth, who lives there. It's a great beach lifestyle town. People walk barefoot in the town. They shop at local fresh markets. So when I was there, we went with our hotel chef on Thursday morning to the fresh produce market. And we actually helped pick out produce that he was going to use to make dinner that night. It was really cool. You can learn to surf. You can go sea kayaking, which I did, and you can see dolphins and turtles. It's amazing. Byron Bay is like, you can actually see hippies, like if any of you are old enough to know what a hippie is. And then we've got the South Coast, which is south of Sydney. It's relatively unexplored. Not as many tourists head that way, but it's beautiful. It's home to Jervis Bay, which is 3 hours south of Sydney. There are pristine white sandy beaches, less crowds than some other beach resorts. There are crystal clear waters in Himes Bay, which is actually often rated as one of the beaches with the whitest sand in the world. There are also dolphin and whale watching cruises here. So yeah, if you want to get away, clients want to get away um, from the crowds, it's a great place. It's also a great place to stop if they decide to drive from Sydney, maybe down to Canberra, and then over to Melbourne. They have to stop in that area. Then we've got Queensland, which is north of, you can see, by the way, on the map up on the top left-hand corner, when I talk about the different states, just to remind you where they are, it'll appear white. So Queensland, huge state, famous for its sunshine and coastal lifestyle. Brisbane, which is the capital of Queensland, is a vibrant riverside city, great shopping, dining, live music scene. The city's really come a long way in the last 10, 15 years. A lot of people wouldn't spend any time in Brisbane. They would just fly in, then head to the coast. But now it's becoming a destination among itself. A great cultural scene, which includes some like the GOMA, which is Gallery of Modern Art, which is one of Australia's major contemporary art museums. There are Brisbane Botanic Gardens, and it's a great place to spend a night or two before heading to either the Gold Coast or Sunshine Coast. So the Gold Coast is south of Brisbane, about 90 minutes on the coast. By the way, Brisbane is not on the coast. It is Riverside. I think I mentioned it. So Gold Coast is about 60 minutes south of Brisbane. It's got 70 kilometers of golden beaches. Some of the main resort areas include Surfers Paradise, Broad Beach, Main Beach, Coolangatta, and Burleigh Heights. And each kind of cater to a different style of traveler. It's also home, if you've got families, to some amazing theme parks. 3 of them are Dream World, Movie World, and Sea World. And the hinterland region, which is only an hour to the west, features stunning rainforests and mountain sceneries. Oh, I've just noticed the slide with Sundays. Don't know how that happened. Okay, so north of Brisbane, about an hour and a half, you will find the Sunshine Coast. It's very different to the Gold Coast. You won't find any high rises here, and it's very laid back. It's got a very cool coastal lifestyle, beautiful beaches, and really picturesque hinterland villages. One of my favorite places in the Sunshine Coast is called Noosa, which you may have heard of. It's become very, very popular over the last couple of years. Here you're going to find amazing beachside dining, boutique shopping, just a really cool resort town. A lot of surfers hang around Noosa. If you've got clients that are interested in going, I would recommend booking it early, because at certain times of the year, because there isn't a ton of accommodation, it books up quite early, especially if you happen to be going during a school holiday or something. But one cool place, really, just outside of Noosa, is Makepeace Island. And I took a helicopter tour, and we flew over it. And it's a small heart-shaped island located right in the middle of the Noosa River, and it's owned by Sir Richard Branson. And you can stay there, or your clients can stay there, and it only ranges on the average about $15,000 per night to rent. So there's a good option for you. Then we've got the Fraser Coast, which is the largest sand island, and it's covered by beautiful rainforests where your clients can swim in crystal clear freshwater lakes. And Hervey Bay is the gateway city, and clients can fly from either Brisbane or Sydney, or they can drive from Brisbane, which is about 3.5 hours. So next we have Victoria. And as you can see on the map, it's way down there. So Victoria, the capital obviously is Melbourne, as you can see. It's a compact but really diverse state. It's a great self-drive destination if your clients are into that. Of course, in Australia, people drive on the opposite side of the road, so they have to be comfortable. All the roads are paved in Australia, anywhere that your clients would be going, and everything is very well marked. Lots of street signs and everything. Anyway, Melbourne is a really vibrant, stylish, cultural metropolis. Again, capital of Victoria. There's a really sophisticated cafe scene. Really cool hip bars, great dining. It's often referred to as having a very European vibe. Actually, a lot of people tell me that after visiting, they think it's kind of like Toronto. People from the out west or whatever don't hate me for saying that, but a lot of people think, I guess size-wise, whatever, people kind of relate it to Toronto. I don't know. But it's often ranked as the world's most livable city. Again, it's got the action-packed calendar, like the Aussie Tennis Open, which is going on right now, Formula One Grand Prix, which takes place in March. Next, we have Phillip Island, which is located about 90 minutes south of Melbourne. And of course, this island is famous for the nightly penguin parade, where thousands of little penguins pop up out of the sea and waddle up to the beach after going out catching fish during the day. They waddle up to the beach and to their burrows where their youngsters are, whatever. There are various viewing stand options. You can't stand right on the beach. You have to book a ticket into a viewing stand. So your clients usually will book in advance. Again, it's a very popular attraction, so it's best to book in advance. But it's an amazing experience, and once you do it, clients will never forget it. We've got the Mornington Peninsula. This is a popular trip to combine with Phillip Island and can easily be done in one day. By the way, the Penguin Parade happens at nightfall, so by the time if your clients are staying in Melbourne, it's a bit of a drive back, like an hour and a half. So it's a long day, but a day tour is doable for sure. The Mornington Peninsula, very famous for its wineries, farmland, and food and wine experiences. Then we've got the Great Southern Touring Route, which is, of course, the Great Ocean Road, which starts in Geelong, which is approximately an hour west of Melbourne. The drive is best done over several days. You can do it in a day, but it's an extremely long day. I would suggest to do it over 2 days, just so you can see everything, take your time, stop in some of the little villages or vantage points, and really get to experience it properly. Along the Great Ocean Road, you can see the 12 Apostles, which you can see in the photograph there. Just the coastal scenery is beautiful. There's amazing wildlife, and clients can carry on their drive at the end of it if they want to go west to Adelaide, or they can loop back to Melbourne. And rather than doing the Great Ocean Road in reverse, they can go inland and take the loop through historic Ballarat, which was a gold mining town back in the day. That's where the Australian gold rush began, and then head back to Melbourne that way. Then we've got the Yarra Valley, really famous for its wineries. It's 90 minutes north of Melbourne. Again, cellar door tastings, great restaurants, boutique accommodation. And finally, Gippsland, which is about 2 to 3 hours east of Melbourne, so heading kind of east, like towards Canberra and wherever. It's a great place to stop if your clients are driving Sydney to Melbourne or reverse. The clients can explore Wilson's Prom, which is a picturesque region famous for its wildlife beaches and stunning outlooks. Here's my little arrow. There we go. Now we're up in the NT, as you can see it on the little map, Northern Territory. I'm losing my voice. So Northern Territory, only state and territory that does not have a winery. A little interesting fact there. The NT is a nature lover's paradise, the outback. It's like the wildlife, it's rugged outback scenery, amazing indigenous cultural experiences. It's breathtaking. So we'll start with the capital, Darwin. Um, the region really comes alive during the dry season, which is April to October. They've got a lot of outdoor events. They've got a lot of markets that take place. There are really impressive sunsets up in Darwin. You can take a harbor cruise, lots of outdoor dining. And the city also has a lot of history. It was actually the city most bombed during World War II. A lot of people didn't know that. When I went, I didn't know that. There's also Crocosaurus Cove, which is a must-see attraction right in the center of the city. And you can handle reptiles and things like that. Or if your clients are brave enough, they can enter the Cage of Death, which is a swimming with a croc experience. You're actually in a big, like a plexiglass tube, and then the croc can swim all around you. I did not do that. Then we've got the top end. So the top end refers to the northern part of the NT, so just below Darwin. It's very green and lush. It's home to Kakadu National Park, which is a huge wilderness area famous for its wildlife, scenery, and indigenous rock art. I would recommend, if your clients are going to Kakadu, to book them an overnight, just because it's such a huge park. And there's several accommodation options in the park. But if you do it as a day trip, it's a bit rushed. Catherine is home to Nibluck National Park, which has 13 beautiful gorges where you can go kayaking and canoeing. This is also an off-train excursion for guests of the GAN, which is the famous train that runs from Adelaide north to Darwin through the Red Centre. Then we've also got Litchfield National Park, which is about 90 minutes south of Darwin. Here you can swim in water holes and see stunning waterfalls. Then finally, we've got the Red Centre, which is the heart of Adelaide, the heart of Australia. It's home to Alice Springs, which is the famous historic frontier town. Obviously, tons of outback experiences. There's Kings Canyon, which is a 3-hour drive from Alice, which is a stunning canyon where clients can do a challenging rim walk, which I did, and you have to be quite fit, actually. And I don't think I was at the time, but yeah, you can climb Kings Canyon, but it starts very early in the morning. I think it was like at 7 or 7:30, just because you want to do the walk before noon when it gets really, really hot. So just a tip. And then there is an easier walk called the base walk, which is not as, you don't have to climb any steep cliffs or anything like that. So people that are less adventurous can do the base walk. Excuse me. We've also got Uluru, which is the indigenous name for Ayers Rock, which is an ancient sandstone monolith, I guess, famous for its gorgeous auburn hue, which seems to change with change color at different seasons and different times of the day. And there are different ways to get around Uluru. You can do, like I did, oh geez, what do you call them? One of those things you stand on with 2 wheels. Oh, my head's gone blank. You know what I mean. You can do one of those tours around the base. Again, if you're doing a tour around, or your clients are going to walk around, it's best to start like right at sunrise before it gets really, really hot. And then, of course, one of the great outback dining experiences is called Sounds of Silence, where you can take a coach out to where they have the dinner, or you can take a camel ride, which I did. So you're out in the middle of the outback, just kind of like this couple in the picture, but you have cocktails, and then you watch the sun go down, you watch Uluru change in color, and then they lead you through the bush to this outdoor dining area. And there's tables and chairs with candles on the tables, like a buffet, and you dine under the stars, and it's amazing. So that's called Sounds of Silence. It's spectacular. And then, as you can see where we are, like we are in South Australia, big wine producing area. South Australia is a great state. Wildlife and wine are two of the staple experiences here. Adelaide is the capital, a really friendly and compact and very walkable city. I really like Adelaide. It's great. It's very friendly and easy to get around. Lots of al fresco dining options here. Lots of great restaurants and bars, of course. And there's a really great market in the center of the city. Clients can catch a tram to Geelong Beach, which is it's half an hour away on the coast. They could have amazing fish and chips at a seaside restaurant or take a dolphin cruise. And a must-do is to explore the Adelaide Hills region, which is just north of Adelaide. And one charming town is called Handorf, which has a German background. And a lot of artists and craft people live in Handorf. It's a really nice little town. If clients take a wine tour up into that area to the Adelaide Hills, a lot of the coach tours will stop at Handorf for lunch, or at least let people out and stretch their legs. So, of course, we've got Barossa Valley, which is one of Australia's premier wine regions, just an hour and a half north of Adelaide. This is home to a large number of famous wineries, including Penfolds, which is very popular, Jacobs Creek Winery. It's a really popular day trip, or it could be good overnight with your clients staying like at a winery or some other kind of boutique accommodation. And then we've got famous Kangaroo Island, which is known as the Zoo Without Fences, or Australia's version of the Galapagos. So it's home to a huge amount of native wildlife, all in their natural environment. So when you're driving around or on a coach tour, like you'll see wallabies and kangaroos just running across the road, through the fields. Like they're everywhere. There are koalas in the trees. There's an area called Seal Beach, so you can walk down to the beach and there are these huge seals just lazing around. It's a very rural farming community, producing fantastic produce. Honey is one of the famous things that they produce here. It's just a 30-minute flight from Adelaide, or about a 2-hour coach tour down to Cape Jervis. And then from there, you take a 45-minute across the water to Pedishaw on Kangaroo Island. It was home to the Southern Ocean Lodge, which is part of the luxury lodges of Australia. However, it sadly burned down during the bushfires of January 2020, but is going to be ready. It should be opening any time now. Can't remember now the date, but segue, by the way, that was what it was. I took around Uluru, segue. Anyway, yes, Southern Ocean Lodge is going to be opening very soon, which is very popular. Then we go out to the western part of Australia, and this state takes about a third of the entire continent. The capital is Perth. It's a very sunny capital right on the edge of the Indian Ocean. It boasts more sunny days than any other capital cities in Australia. There are beautiful beaches not far from the city center. Fremantle is a historic port, really charming. It's only about 30 minutes from the city center. And from there, you can take a ferry over to Rottnest Island, which is a very popular day trip. And it's only 40 minutes. Ferries are also available from downtown Perth directly to Fremantle. But Rottnest is home to beautiful beaches, campgrounds, glamping, and those little kangaroo-like animals called quokkas. I'm sure you've seen people taking selfies with the quokka. Even Chris Hemsworth has done it. Anyway, it's a beautiful little island, great day trip. South of Perth, we've got Margaret River, which is 3 hours below Perth. There are day trips available There are coach tours if clients don't want to do the drive. It is a very long day. I did it in one day, and it's quite long, but it is doable. So this region produces a high percentage of Australia's premium wines. There are amazing farm to table experiences. Your clients can do treetop walks, or they can go underground and explore caves. Then finally, up in the top, you can see here in the map of the state, up in the top corner, the northwest corner of WA, on the Coral Coast is Ningaloo. It is accessible by car. It's a very long drive, but it's part of the Indian Ocean Drive, which takes the clients through the Shark Bay region. I flew when I went up there. It takes about 2 hours from Perth to Learmouth State Airport. And here clients can find the world's largest fringing reef, where you can walk off the beach and snorkel among tropical fish and beautiful coral. It's also home to whale sharks, which are gentle giants. So your clients can swim with these amazing creatures between late March and early July, and it's very safe. When I did it, it was very rough because they go out beyond the reefs into the Indian Ocean. So you have to wear a life jacket. But if you're booking a client to go swim with the whale sharks, do look for an operator who has a helicopter. So the one tour I did, they had a helicopter. So the helicopter flies over the boat and looks for the whale sharks, then radios your boat so they know where to go to find the whale sharks. Because sometimes if you are on an operator's boat without the helicopter, you might be out there and not see any whale sharks. So just a little tip. So Exmouth and Coral Bay are the main accommodation centers up in Ningaloo, but there is a limited number of hotels. So I do recommend people pre-booking a stay up in that region. So we're second last state and territory. So ACT, the Australian Capital Territory, Canberra is the nation's capital. It's located between Sydney and Melbourne. It's surrounded by national parks, mountain ranges. The proximity and diversity of attractions in Canberra means you can do quite a lot in just a few short days. Award-winning restaurants. There's a gourmet trail called Poacher's Way. There are actually 33 cool climate wineries within 30 minutes of the city. You'll also find in Canberra the National Gallery of Australia, which houses the world's largest collection of Indigenous art. Canberra is also known for its world-class museums and art galleries, which tell the story of Australia. So if you've got clients who are into history, especially, great place for them to go. So the last territory or state we're going to talk about is Tasmania, little Tasmania, that little island off the coast below Melbourne. So Hobart is the capital. Great city. Love Hobart. It's probably one of the most fascinating art galleries I've ever been to. It's called MONA, Museum of Old and New Art. It was created by a kind of eccentric gentleman by the name of David Walsh. It's kind of hard to describe this museum. The art installations are very unique. That's all I can say. You have to keep an open mind when you go through MONA. Google it. You'll see. It also houses a wine bar, a couple of restaurants, and they have their own winery. And if clients don't want to drive to MONA, it's not far from downtown Hobart. There's actually a really cool ferry that leaves right from downtown Hobart and stops right at MONA. They've got an upgrade. You can book the mosh pit and includes wine and like charcuterie board. It's really cool. One of the other things I love about Hobart is on Saturdays, they have outdoor market called the Salamanca Market. And that photograph on your left of your screen is Salamanca Market. It's really beautiful. Open air market, right by the harbor in the middle of the city. One of the other probably most popular things close to Hobart is the famous convict penitentiary, Port Arthur. It's just a 90-minute drive from Hobart. It's got tons of history, amazing stories about the convicts that were sent to Australia and how they lived when they first got here. And you can stay in the evening and do a ghost walk, which I did. And my cell phone actually flashed. I didn't do it. We were in this ruin of a church. My cell phone flashed without me touching it. So I'm a believer. So let's see, East Coast. It's known for its pink granite mountain ranges, sheltered white sandy beaches, and the peninsula is the location for very famous Freixenet National Park. Northwest Tasmania, the city here is Launceston. It's located in Tasmania's north, about 120 miles north of Hobart. Launceston is a small but cosmopolitan city. It's got a high appreciation for the excellent produce and fine wines that are produced in Tasmania. Let's see, within 20 minutes of leaving the city, you can find yourself in the Tamar Valley, which is a famous wine region, especially known for excellent Chardonnay, Riesling, and Pinot Noirs. And then Cradle Mountain, Lake St. Clair National Park is located in the middle of the island of Tasmania and is easily accessible from Hobart and Launceston, very famous for people who like to go on walks. And finally, the West Coast. Clients could do whitewater rafting, sail on beautiful harbors, hike through age-old rainforests on Tasmania's wild West Coast. And of course, Tasmania is also famous for the little devils, the Tasmanian devils, which you will see, your clients will see. Okay, so now just to wrap things up, I hope you enjoyed your whirlwind tour of Australia. Because of the pandemic, there's a lot of demand to go to Australia. We're almost back at 100% of where we're at in 2019, which is exciting. Our aviation is actually, we have more aviation from Canada to Australia than we did pre-pandemic. We're about 100 and I think it's between 105 and 110%. So I'm very excited about that. So the Aussie Specialist Program, I just want to show you a quick video. I promised it'd be quick. Okay, Susan and I already kind of talked about the Aussie Specialist Program at the beginning, so I'm not going to go into a ton of detail, and we're kind of getting long on time. But as I said, as we said, it only takes 90 minutes to become qualified. Of course, you can take the modules at your own leisure. You can start and stop them anytime you want. There's lots of benefits of becoming an Aussie Specialist. As I mentioned, most agents who take the program, but 98% said that they feel much more confident in selling Australia. They feel that they can upsell Australia as well. There are a lot of financial rewards for doing it. You can join our private Facebook group where we have lots of fun, interactive contests and quizzes, and you can win great Aussie prizes like cuddly koalas and things like that. When we do a fam trip, it's only for Aussie Specialists. They get invited. As the agent mentioned earlier, who went to G'day Australia, we only invite Aussie Specialists to apply to come to G'day Australia, which is a conference that we do for agents somewhere in Australia. It's a better part of a week. There's lots of interaction with sellers from across Australia. There's always a great party every evening. And then we do a FAM either pre or post. So lastly, just because I know like I said, we're going a little long, our email addresses are here on this slide. The Aussie Specialist program is at aussiespecialist.com, very easy to remember. If you have any questions about Aussie Specialist program, or if you have problems registering or whatever, you can just email hotline@tourism.australia.com. Gustavo and my email addresses are there on your screen. And yeah, please take the program. I'm sure you'll like it. It's, like I said, got a great satisfaction rate from travel agents. So that's it.
Wow,
Whirlwind.
that was amazing. You have a
As I
lot
said,
of great comments. I'll tell you honestly, Paul, between Facebook and Zoom, everyone's like, what a great presentation.
oh,
Kevin said, this was a great presentation. Thanks so much, Paul.
oh, thank you. Thanks for the compliments.
Yeah, and that's
It's,
just saying a few.
it's hard to squeeze, Australia's such a huge country. It's hard to squeeze it into a short time. So that's why I try to go quickly through it. But it's just to give people a flavor of it. And again, hopefully they'd be interested enough to go and do the Aussie Specialist program and, at their own
It's not
leisure.
about the wine regions either, people. There's more to it than the wine, that's for sure. Wow. Do you have the Facebook group again, the name, if you might, do you mind going back to that slide?
Um, but
Okay, there. Oh, yeah, perfect.
yeah, so just search North American Aussie Specialist Program. But
Perfect.
if you go to register, as I said, it's only Aussie specialists that we accept onto the group. So someone in our LA office will check to make sure you're an Aussie specialist before allowing you to join.
Okay, great. Okay, we have a couple questions. I checked in our friends on Facebook, just some great comments, like I mentioned. So Betsy, where's the Good Day Conference in 2024 gonna happen? And do you have any dates yet?
We do, but we haven't announced it yet. Sorry, I can't
Okay, that's
I
exciting.
can't mention it. But as soon as we are going to release it, release the information. It's always in the fall. It's usually in October. But as soon as we announce it, it'll be on the Facebook page. It'll also be sent out to all the Aussie specialists, so they're aware of it.
Okay, sounds good. Shelley's going to be in Melbourne and Turkey. I guess I've said that right, for a wedding at the end of February, and then in
Oh,
Sydney,
Turkey.
Turkey,
Sorry.
yeah, Torquay, and then in Sydney in March. I'm an Aussie specialist. Are there any agent rates for sightseeing in Sydney?
If you go to the Aussie Specialist website, you should be able to find a link to 365 Australia. And if you can't, just send me an email and I'll send it to you. But it's basically it's like a virtual trade show. It's got sellers from all across Australia, day tours, accommodation, and it has their contact information. So all you have to do is you can search like by state or territory, like what you're looking for, and you'll see sellers, and most of them will offer you discounts. And you can just email their email address will be right there.
Okay, great.
And just
Jennifer,
mention you're an Aussie specialist for sure.
yeah, that's key. There's one thing we're gonna take home today. Sign up, 90 minutes. There's so many benefits to it.
Opens the doors.
Oh my God, to go and explore and be able to learn to sell this properly, like you said, it's to go there, I think is easier to sell it, right? With all the different regions and what your clients are looking for.
But when you do the Aussie Specialist program, it's not like, from what understand, it's not like a lot of other training programs for agents where it's pages and pages and pages of reading. Like you read one or two little paragraphs, then you see a little video, 2 or 3 minute video. So it brings what you just read to life. It's really entertaining.
Okay.
And then, like I said, after you do the first 90 minutes to become qualified, then at your leisure, you can go on and you can do dozens of other modules. Like we have our new one is a cruising module, cruising around Australia. You can do a module just on ultimate wineries of Australia, great walks of Australia, luxury lodges of Australia. So there's many, many different ones you can do
That's
to
great.
further your learning.
Well, that's it, right? I mean, that's so large there. There's so much to take in. So Jennifer's like the same thing. She made the wait list last year for the Good Day Fam. She wants to know if it's going to be offered again in 2024. And I think we're going to wait to hear.
Yes.
Perfect. Everyone wants to go, Paul. That's great. She made the wait list.
Yep. Yeah, we get, I mean, unfortunately, I mean, we've only got every market, 13 markets where we have international representation, promoting Australia, we get an allotment of number of agents that we can invite. So unfortunately,
Yeah.
people have to um, apply, and we'd love to be able to take everybody, but unfortunately we can't.
Well, it's not like a plane load to Punta Cana. This is a whole different experience, right?
Right. Yes.
Oh, Jen, thank you, Paul and Susan. Always love hearing more about the Down Under and Cheers. Lori in Halifax. She's going to be doing her specialist program today.
Yay!
Lori,
Thank you.
awesome.
Go, Lori.
Carrie just came back from Adelaide 2 weeks ago, and
Oh,
they
great.
had a celebrity Maggie Beers on the flight. I don't know her.
I'm not sure either, but that's great.
I guess I'm gonna Google who Maggie Beers is. She must be someone there for
That's
sure.
an actress, I guess.
Oh, and Lori, she says me and her are going to Australia together. Paul can come too. Well, that was great. A really amazing updates, Paul. You're such a fantastic ambassador. I cannot tell you how much we learn from you every time. Oh,
Thank
Nicole
you.
said she's a famous cook.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so like a Martha Stewart type over there.
Oh, all right. Thank you
Okay,
for the info. That's
good to
great.
know. We learn every day.
Yes.
Well, listen, spoiled agents, don't forget there's one lucky spoiled agent out there that's going to win a $50 everything gift card. And we're going to wait for a couple days to get that going. And also, don't forget tonight we have our 12 days after Christmas, which Tourism Australia is participating in as well. So they donated a gift. So someone's going to find out who's going to win that gift. It's the day of gifts today.
Yeah. Giving, giving, giving.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. You guys are fantastic. And Paul, we love you. And thanks
Thank
for
you.
being so great.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. And again, thanks for tuning in, and happy selling.
Bye,
And
everyone.
thanks. Thanks,
Bye,
Susan.
Paul. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.